All right. So one of the things that we're going to be doing in this class is using a little bit of Excel, not a lot. Um, a few years ago, I had an alum who I worked with as when he was an undergraduate at Cornell College, and he's now doing quite well for himself in an environmental consulting field. And I asked him, he came up and spoke to my class, and I asked him, what are the things that our graduates need to know how to do in order to get a job with an environmental consulting company right at a college. And one of the things that he said was, well, of course, you need to be able to communicate verbally, and you need to be able to write, and you need to be able to work as part of a team and individually, and all the kind of standard stuff. And then he paused and he said, and just being able to use Excel. It's amazing how many people don't know how to use Excel. So some of you are familiar with it. And if you are, you really don't have to spend much time on this. But for those of you who aren't, this is a very valuable skill to have under your belt. So what I've done is I've opened up Excel. Excel is available for free through the college. You can just search for it, the Microsoft Office package, and download whatever you need. And anyway, Excel is divided. You have these cells, and it's like Battleship if you've ever played that. You have columns with letters and rows with numbers. So this would be A1, and this would be B2 and C3 and so forth. And Excel allows you to do, actually, if you dig into it, allows you to do a lot of complicated calculations, but it does a great deal for you very simply and easily at the more superficial level. So I'm going to put in some numbers here. I'm just going to create some data. So let's put age and let's say height. This will be the height of a tree versus its age. And so I'm going to put in, at 1 year when we first planted the tree, how tall was it at 2 and so forth. Now I'm going to make this column pretty long. And so one thing that you can do is you can simply tell Excel that you're going to do an equation. So in order to do that, you type in equals. Whenever Excel sees an equal sign, it says, okay, let's do some math. And you notice that right up here, there's that equal sign. Whatever you type in the cell there shows up in this bar. So if I wanted to extend this number, one way to do it is to say, well, I'm going to add 1 to whatever is in the cell above it. So I'm going to move my mouse and click on the cell above it. It puts in A3. Then I hit return. And 1 plus A3 is listed up here. And that's what's down here. So now the cool thing about this is if you just copy the cell that you wrote that equation into and scroll down a ways and hit paste, Excel will update the equation in that cell. So it's always adding 1 to the value in the cell above it, so forth. So that's 20 years, let's say. So I'm just going to make up some heights here. I'm going to type in, let's say it was 2 feet high, and then 2.5, and then 3, and then 3.5, and then 5, and 6, and 8, and 10, and 12, and 15, and 19, and 19.5, and 20, and 20.5, and 21, and then let's just say it sticks at 21 all the way up. So if I want to put in 21 for the rest of the way down here, I would just copy 21, highlight those empty cells, and paste. So forth. Okay. So that's some basic stuff doing adding numbers into Excel. Now, if you wanted to visualize this, what you could do is you could plot it. So you highlight column A and column B, and you go up to Insert, and we're going to put in, let's do something that looks like this. So I'm going to insert a graph. Let's do that again. Insert, and I go over to this scatter plot, and I pick the one with the curved lines and the dots on it. All right? And so what we have here then is we have the x-axis would be age, right? And the y-axis would be height. So we can see that the growth rate changes a little bit over time, then it changes again, and then it becomes stable from about 15 years to 20 years. All right? You can do all sorts of mathematical functions. We could calculate the ratio of height to age in this column by simply putting in equals, and we would click on the height, and then the divide is this thing, and click on this. So the ratio of height divided by age would be in here. You copy it, scroll down and paste, and that's the ratio of height divided by age. If we wanted to add that to this plot, we could highlight columns A and C and copy it, click on the plot, and go to paste special. And you have to be careful here what you click. We're adding a new series. The series names are in the first row. That's age and ratio of height to age. And the X values are in the first column, age. So I click that button, and we get this. So you look at that, and you might not say, well, it's kind of hard to compare the orange to the blue. So what you can do is you can double click on the orange, and one thing that should pop up somewhere, maybe over in here, is this secondary axis. So now you can see that the blue line is plotted on the left-hand axis, and the orange line is plotted on the right-hand axis. So you can see how the ratio of height to age changes over time. A couple of other things to know how to do would be to calculate an average. Let's say you wanted to calculate the average height over the 20 years here. We could just put in equals, and we type out the word average, and you can see that these functions come up. So if you're telling Excel you're going to do this calculation, you put it in open paren, you select all of the data and a closed paren, and that's the average height, 13.6. Anyway, that is about what you need to know for Excel for now.